Because credit card debt continues to climb higher and higher, and the average interest rates on unpaid balances are at all-time highs, credit cards are viewed by many as a huge danger sign that you have to stay away from. But if you can properly handle your finances, credit cards can actually provide significant benefits, and is why most American millionaires use credit cards for all of their purchases. In fact, I dedicated this entire video to provide real-world estimates on how nearly anyone watching this could easily save hundreds of thousands of dollars throughout your career by properly using credit cards. With that said, my name is Sully, and all I ask is if you do find value in this content, that you consider hitting the like and subscribe button for future content like this. Knowing that, let's first go over credit card sign-up bonuses. Now, I'm not here to tell you to overload yourself with credit cards just for the sign-up bonuses. I'm strictly going to use the average number of credit cards the US consumer has, which is an average of about 4 credit cards in their wallet. So for this, I'm just going to say that all you get is 4 credit cards throughout your entire lifetime. Even though I already have more than that right now, I want this to be as realistic as possible for anyone watching. Knowing that, let's say that you have 3 standard credit cards with no fees, then you have 1 travel card that has a $100 annual fee. I'll discuss calculations for the annual fees later in the video, but do realize that if you properly use a travel card, even if you only travel a few times per year, the benefits could well be worth it if you know what you're doing. But as far as sign-up bonuses, a standard credit card today could earn you a $200 cashback bonus for spending something like $1,000 on the card within the first 90 days. And depending on the credit card issuer, many offer this type of cash bonus in the value of points, so $200 may actually be 20,000 points, and with those points, you can use them for many different types of redemption options. If you're brand new to credit cards, this may seem confusing, but I will try to keep it as simple as I can because this can save you a lot of money over time. So let's just say that you get a ton of points for your sign-up bonus. What most don't realize is that rather than redeeming your points for cash right away for a 1-to-1 value, where the standard is 1 cent per point that you have, if you were to instead use your points in other ways, the best way is for travel, using a travel credit card. At least with the credit cards that I personally use, I'm able to combine all of my points from all the cards to my travel card, and then I can use those points for great travel benefits. Now, I'll have a direct link to the ones that I use in the description below if you want to learn more, but understand that this is super easy to do once you get the hang of it, and I even made a few videos on this topic. If you want to learn more, I'll also have those linked in the description below. But if you effectively use your points, you could very well average 2 to 3 times the value of your credit card points, which means $200 could actually be worth the value of $500 worth in travel. I've done this numerous times already, but a simple example using my credit card's hotel partner, that is Hyatt. If you take a trip to California, you could get a hotel room in Silicon Valley for 6,500 points, or if you pay cash, that is $167, and that doesn't include any taxes or additional fee. And don't forget that all these points are earned simply based on spending your money wisely, which I'll be talking about more throughout the video. Now, there are many ways that you could use your points for travel, but as a whole, if you properly use your points, the 3 standard credit cards with the $200 cash bonus on each would make a total of $600, and if you receive points and average 2.5 times the value on your points when you redeem them, that could be worth $1,500 in travel. And not to mention, but a strong travel credit card may offer at least a $750 sign-up bonus, which is equivalent to almost $2,000 in value if you average 2.5 times the points. Now, I'll factor in the annual fee for travel cards shortly, but with only 4 credit cards throughout your entire lifetime, you could potentially save close to $3,500 from sign-up bonuses alone, and this is only the beginning of the video. The next section to discuss, you can earn even more, and that is from the points you earn from spending on your card. Now, it's reported that Americans spend an average of $1,500 on their credit cards each month, which is more than $18,000 per year. For this example, I'm just going to say that's $20,000 in a year, and with all sorts of credit cards offering different cashback benefits, you may get a card focused on gas-related expenses that gives you 4% back, an all-around credit card that may offer you an unlimited 1.5%, another card may easily give you 3% on dining and restaurants, or other cards provide flexibility where you could earn even over 5% in certain categories. Because of all that, I believe averaging 2% cash back on everything is very doable, and many could earn even more than that, or spend even more than $20,000 in a year, so it's all up to how you use your cards. But knowing that 2% from spending $20,000 means means that every year you are able to generate $400 in cash back, or for some, that would be viewed as 40,000 points. And if you use the points for travel, averaging 2.5 times the value, that means every year you are gaining $1,000 in value. So let's just say that you do this throughout your entire career, that is 40 years. That means you can now save $40,000 or more from properly using a credit card. But of course, we're going to add in that annual fee for a travel credit card, which I said was $100. Mine, I actually get $50 for free toward any hotel purchase every year. So factoring that in, that means a $50 annual fee for 40 years is $2,000, which brings the total value down to $38,000 in value. All in all, so far we've calculated that if you properly use credit cards to their benefit the right way, every year you could pretty much get free hotels or benefit from other travel experiences, such as international flights, where you can explore the world in a way that you might not have been able to or wanted to if you had to pay the cash. But knowing that, the next section is an even bigger savings that I believe many underrate, and that is the benefits of having a good credit score. Now, if you didn't know, having a good credit score can significantly impact your financial future, and to show a visual on how this works, the main areas that are impacted by your credit score consist of mortgage rates, auto loans, insurance rates, and credit card rates that are all areas many of you may utilize at some point in your career. And so just looking at the biggest differences here, the image shows that if you have poor credit, the rate comparison for getting a 30-year mortgage could be the difference of 9.5% when compared to 3.9% with excellent credit. Auto loans show the difference of 18.9% compared to 5.1%. Insurance rates only rise the worse of a score you have, and credit card rates are the exact same as well. But before I show any calculations, it's really important to understand the 5 main factors that affect your credit score, where the first and largest weight is from your payment history at 35%, which pretty much reflects that you consistently pay your bills on time and in full across all types of debt, such as credit cards and loans. Because of that, any late payments can significantly impact your score. From there, the second factor is the amount owed at 30%. That refers to how much debt you currently owe across all accounts, especially when looking at how much of your available credit you're using. Then the third factor is the length of credit history at 15%, which primarily looks at how long your credit accounts have been active, with longer histories generally helping your score. The fourth factor is credit mix at 10%, which is based on different types of credit that you have, such as credit cards, auto loans, and many others. And the last factor to understand is new credit at 10%, and this refers to recently opened accounts or hard inquiries, which can temporarily lower your credit score. Needless to say, if you can follow these 5 factors, you could end up having a great credit score, and here's how much that could actually save you. Now, there's many research studies that compare the costs between how much credit scores can actually impact your financial future, where this one alone from Zillow, published in July 2022, reported that if you had a credit score above 760, that the estimated annual interest rate on a 30-year mortgage would be 5.099% when compared to a fair credit score of 620 to 639, that is 6.688%. For many, the percentage difference here may not seem that significant, but from getting the average price of a home in 2022 that was $350,000, that means your average monthly payments would be either $1,538 if you had a great credit score, but if you even have a fair credit score, that goes up to $1,826 per month. Even looking at that monthly difference, it doesn't sound too crazy, but after owning a home for 30 years, that total may end up costing you $553,000 when compared to $657,000, which is a $104,000 difference solely based on your credit score. Also realize that the Credit Bureau Experian states that lenders typically require a minimum credit score of 620 to qualify for a conventional mortgage. Although there are other ways you could potentially get one with as low as a 500 credit score, the impact on how much you pay is significantly impacted. And aside from getting your own home, getting a loan for a vehicle also has significant cost depending on your score. This article by CNBC notes that the biggest difference is that if you have a score over 720 when compared to being in the 600s, the interest rates are significantly different, and let's say that you're in the 620 to 659 range, that could be a difference of a $1,000 monthly payment, or with good credit, that could be an $865 monthly payment. And over a 5-year duration, this means that the total interest would be around $7,000, or with the lower score, that would be $15,000, making that an extra $8,000 $3,000 due in interest paid to the banks, all because of your credit score. And don't forget, that is only over a 5-year period. In fact, Yahoo Finance reported that a study they used in their article stated that most Americans will drive 10 cars over the course of their lives, assuming they get a new car every 6 years. Now, the best scenario is that you take the time to wisely choose the car that you purchase and you pay in cash rather than getting a loan. But for this video's purpose, the difference from financing cars throughout your entire life can end up being a total difference of $80,000 solely based on your credit score. Now, there are many ways that could be even better or worse for all types of categories that I'm mentioning in this video, but here is a simple summary on the estimates I came up with when it comes to using your credit cards properly. The first is from getting the benefits of sign-up bonuses of 4 cards, and that equates to a total savings of $3,500 throughout your entire life, which for many of you, that could easily be much higher. The second is the cashback you earn from using credit cards throughout your career, not even your whole life, but I calculated that to be, after fees, $38,000 after 40 years. The next 2 scenarios are factored based on your credit scores, and depending on how well you use your cards, this can make a huge difference for your financial future. And so the third category I used here is when you go to get a home, if you don't have a good score, you could potentially end up spending on average $104,000 more in interest throughout the lifetime of your 30-year mortgage. And although there very well could be more areas to discuss from the impact here, the last one I used was auto loans and how the difference in your credit score could end up saving you $80,000 from interest throughout your entire life. Now, understand that you don't necessarily have to use credit cards in order to have a good score, but the better that you handle your finances as a whole, typically the better your credit score will be. But if you don't handle your finances properly or use credit cards wisely, that can seriously cost you over time. And like I said, it could easily be hundreds of thousands of dollars. A lot of the content I create is related to investing because it can be among the easiest way to build wealth over time if you do it properly, and managing your finances is the root to it all, because if you could save the money I just discussed, the odds of retiring successfully and living financially free improve significantly. Now, if you want to check out other videos I created, I'll have the most relevant ones for you linked in the description below, as well as the credit cards I personally use and other top credit cards you may want to consider getting started with. End of the day, I want you to do what's best for your finances, but do know that depending on the ones you choose and potentially get started with, I may earn a commission for it, which is greatly appreciated. And as always, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notifications button for future content like this.